My daughter turned 10 on a rainy Saturday, and not one member of my family came to her birthday. Not one. I had spent 2 weeks planning everything. Her favorite cake. Her favorite decorations. A playlist of the songs she loved. Pink balloons covered the living room ceiling, and a small table was decorated with paper flowers she had helped me make herself. There were 12 chairs around the dining table. I kept looking at them. 12 chairs. 12 places. And every one of them was waiting for someone who wasn't coming. My daughter, Lily, had been sick for almost 3 years. She had a rare illness that had gradually weakened her body. There were good days and bad days. On good days, she could walk around the house and laugh with me. On bad days, she couldn't get out of bed without help. The doctors had never given us a simple answer. They had given us possibilities, treatments, clinical trials, risks, and one sentence I could never forget. We don't know how much time she has. I try not to think about those words, especially on her birthday. I wanted Lily to wake up and feel like an ordinary 10-year-old. That morning, she came downstairs wearing her favorite pink sweater. Her hair was tied with 2 ribbons. She smiled when she saw the decorations. "Dad," I turned around. "Happy birthday." She looked around the room. "You did all this?" "Who else?" She laughed. Then she noticed the table. Our grandma and grandpa coming. I paused. "They said they were." She smiled. "What about Uncle David?" "He said he'd try." "And Aunt Rachel?" "She's coming too." I was lying, but I couldn't bring myself to tell her yet. For weeks, my family had been making excuses. My mother said she couldn't handle hospitals. My father said he had work. My brother David said he was traveling. My sister Rachel said she was overwhelmed. But they all knew the truth. This might be Lily's final birthday. The doctors had told me her condition was becoming more serious. I had told my family because I thought they deserved to know. Instead of offering support, they became distant. One night, my mother called. "Daniel, we can't keep doing this." "Doing what?" "Being surrounded by sickness." I stared at the phone. "She's your granddaughter." "I know." "Then what are you saying?" "I'm saying we need some distance." "Distance from Lily?" She didn't answer. Then she whispered, "It's too painful." I couldn't believe it. "Do you think it's easy for me?" She started crying. "I just can't watch her suffer." "Then come sit with her." "I can't." "You don't have to fix anything." "I know. Just be there." She hung up. I sat alone in the kitchen afterward. I cried quietly because Lily was sleeping upstairs. The next morning, I acted like nothing had happened. I didn't want her to carry my pain. On her birthday, I woke her early. "Today's your day." She smiled. "Can I have pancakes?" "Of course." "With strawberries?" "Obviously." She laughed. For a few hours, everything felt normal. We made pancakes. We opened small presents. We played music. Then noon arrived. No one came. At 12:15, I checked my phone. Nothing. At 12:30, another message arrived. From Mom. "I'm sorry. I can't make it." No explanation. No apology beyond those 3 words. Then my brother. Something came up. Then my sister. "Maybe we can celebrate another day." Another day. I stared at that message. There might not be another day. I put the phone down. Lily noticed. "Dad." "Yeah." "Are they late?" I forced a smile. "Maybe." She looked at the clock. "Grandma said she'd be here at 12. "I know." She looked toward the front door. "Maybe her car broke." "Maybe." She waited. 5 minutes. 10. 20. Still nothing. Then she quietly asked, "Did I do something?" I froze. "No." "Are they mad at me?" "No." "Then why aren't they coming?" I walked over and knelt beside her. Because sometimes grown-ups don't know how to handle difficult things. She looked confused. "Like being sick." I nodded. "Yeah." She looked down at her hands. "Am I difficult?" My heart broke. "No." "Are you sure?" I hugged her. "You're the easiest person in the world to love." She held me tightly. I whispered, "Never forget that." We continued the party. Just the 2 of us. We ate cake. She opened her presents. I put on her favorite song. She danced slowly because she didn't have much energy. At one point, she looked at the empty chairs. "Dad." "Yes." "Can we move the chairs?" "Why?" "They make the room look sad." I looked at them. She was right. I moved them against the wall. She smiled. "Better. Much better." That evening, after she fell asleep, I sat alone in the kitchen. The cake was half-eaten. Pink balloons floated near the ceiling. The decorations were still beautiful, but the house felt painfully quiet. I opened my phone. There were several messages from family members. One from my mother. "Please don't make us feel guilty." I stared at it. Another from my sister. You know this is hard for everyone. Then another. Stop using Lily's illness to pressure us. I felt something inside me change. I had never asked them for money. I had never demanded that they solve Lily's illness. I had only asked them to show up, to sit beside her, to let her know she mattered. They couldn't even do that. Then I remembered the charity foundation my family had spent years promoting. My parents were proud of their philanthropic work. They attended fundraising dinners. They appeared in photographs. They told people they supported children with serious illnesses. They had hundreds of donors, maybe even more. I had never questioned their work. I trusted them. But that night, sitting alone beneath my daughter's birthday decorations, I remembered something. For years, I had watched my parents ask people for donations. They said the money helped children receive medical treatment. They talked about compassion. They talked about families who needed help. They talked about giving children hope. And yet my own daughter couldn't get them to attend her birthday. I opened my laptop. I searched through old files. There it was. A donor database. 200 names. 200 people who had donated because they believed my family was helping children like Lily. I stared at the list. Then I opened another folder. Inside were medical bills, treatment invoices, bank statements, messages from my family, records of my requests for help. I began putting everything together. I didn't want revenge. I wanted accountability. I wanted someone to know what was happening. I created a single document. At the top, I wrote, "My daughter turned 10 today." Then I explained her condition. I explained the treatments. I explained the money I had spent. I explained how I had asked my family for help. I included their messages. I included the canceled birthday. And finally, I included a photograph. Lily sitting at the birthday table. A pink crown on her head. A smile on her face. And 6 empty chairs surrounding her. I stared at the photograph for a long time. Then I wrote one final sentence. "This is what happened to the child your donations were supposed to help." My finger hovered over the send button. I knew there was no turning back. If I sent it, my family would never forgive me. But then I remembered Lily asking, "Am I difficult?" I clicked send. The file went to 200 donors. For several seconds, nothing happened. Then my screen lit up. One email. Then another. Then 5. Then 20. My phone started ringing. I stared at it. The first caller was a woman named Margaret Lewis. I answered. "Hello." Her voice was trembling. "Is this Daniel?" "Yes. I just received your file." I looked toward the hallway where my daughter was sleeping. "Yes." There was a long pause. Then Margaret asked the question I had been afraid someone would ask. Why didn't anyone tell us what was happening? I swallowed. Because my family didn't want anyone to know. Silence. Then she said, "Daniel, I think you need to know something." "What?" "I've been donating to your family's foundation for 15 years. "I know. I just checked the records." Her voice became serious. "Some of the money isn't where it should be." My heart stopped. "What do you mean?" "I mean we need to find out where every dollar went." I sat back in my chair. The room suddenly felt different. I had sent the file because I wanted someone to hear my daughter's story. I hadn't expected it to open a door to something much bigger. And somewhere upstairs, my 10-year-old daughter was sleeping peacefully, unaware that her birthday had just set an entire investigation in motion. The first call came from a woman named Margaret Lewis. She had donated to my family's foundation for nearly 15 years. "Is this Daniel?" "Yes. I just received your file." I sat silently at the kitchen table. The same table where, only hours earlier, I had watched my daughter blow out 10 candles with 6 empty chairs surrounding her. "I didn't send it to hurt anyone," I said. "Then why did you send it?" I looked toward the hallway. My daughter was asleep. "Because I want my daughter to have a chance." Margaret was quiet. Then she asked, "Why didn't anyone tell us?" "Tell you what?" "That the foundation wasn't helping her." My stomach tightened. "What do you mean?" I checked our donation records. Her voice had changed. She no longer sounded like a confused donor. She sounded like someone who had discovered something serious. "Your family's foundation has raised millions for pediatric medical programs." "Yes." "And your daughter is struggling to receive treatment?" I closed my eyes. "Exactly." There was a long silence. Then Margaret said, "I'm going to investigate." The call ended. I stared at my phone. I didn't know what would happen next. I had expected anger from my family. Maybe a few accusations. I hadn't expected the donors to start asking questions. The second call came less than 5 minutes later. Then another. Then another. By midnight, my phone wouldn't stop vibrating. Some donors wanted explanations. Others wanted copies of the medical records. Several asked for financial statements. One woman wrote, "I have donated to this foundation for 11 years. I need to know where my money went." Another wrote, "If your daughter is being denied treatment while this organization claims to support children like her, I want answers." I barely slept. At 6:12 the next morning, my phone rang again. This time, it was my mother. "What have you done?" Her voice was furious. I stared at the ceiling. I told the truth. "You sent private information to 200 people. I sent documents showing where the money went. You've destroyed this family." "No." I sat up. "You did that yourself." She became silent. Then she whispered, "You could have come to us privately." "I did. We tried to help. You told me there was nothing you could do. Because we didn't know what to do. You could have shown up." She didn't answer. "Do you know what Lily asked me on her birthday?" "What?" "She asked if she had done something wrong." My mother's voice broke. "Daniel." "She thought everyone stayed away because she wasn't worth celebrating." I swallowed hard. "That's what your absence did." My mother started crying. I ended the call. For the first time in years, I didn't feel guilty for standing up to her. Later that morning, I received an email from Margaret. There was an attachment. Independent donation review, preliminary findings. I opened it. My hands began to tremble. The report showed that donations intended for pediatric medical assistance had passed through several accounts before reaching their final destinations. Some of those accounts belonged to companies connected to members of my family. I read the document twice. Then a third time. One payment was labeled administrative consulting. Another, family outreach. Another, emergency operational expenses. The amounts were enormous, and none appeared connected to my daughter's treatment. I called Margaret. "Where did you get this?" "We requested the records from the foundation." "Can they refuse?" "Not anymore." "What happens now?" "Now we ask where the